So this is all I was asking for. Maybe this will help you guys understand why I'm as annoyed as I am. This is all. Alright, I got a little rant for y'all, and I probably shouldn't even do this because I don't know if it's going to make me seem petty or immature or ungrateful or what, but I have had one of the most, what's the word I'm thinking for here, unsatisfying, just let down sort of weekends so far when it comes to asking people, paying people to help you with what I thought was a very, very basic task. So here's what happened. Got a big delivery of lumber. Got it here. This is all 2x4s. It's got to be kiln dried. Piled up here. There's some piled up back here now, and I'm going to tell you how all that happened. First off, I had the guy message me asking about drying all these 2x4s. He had them cut by another mill. I'm going to dry them in the kiln. And he messaged me, asking about details on how to deliver it and all this. And I said, bring it in bundles that are no more than about 1,000 pounds, 800 to 1,000 pounds. That way I know my tractor can pick them up off the trailer. I said, I don't really care how the bundles are sorted, just no larger than, because I said, we're going to have to sort through all of it as we put it in the kiln anyway. I said, just no larger, 800 to 1,000 pounds, absolute max. And I said, put some 4x4 dunnage in between each bundle to make sure I can get my forks in between, because my forks are kind of thick. So I said, use some 4x4s or 3x3s. I said, use some dunnage like that to make sure that I can get in between the bundles. So he says, okay, no problem. He seemed like he understood. He paid some boys, he said some boys, I'm assuming high schoolers, to load all this stuff on his trailer for him. And he told them the same thing. He said, load it in bundles. And I don't know exactly what he said to them, but he said he told them to load it in bundles, all about the same size. Or he said load it in groups or something. Well, they loaded it in groups. They loaded on the back of the trailer. I should have got video when he pulled in. On the back of the trailer, they started with all of the 1x material, which is already in the kiln. They loaded all the 1x12s, then all the 1x10s, then all the 1x6s, then all the 1x8s, then all the 1x4s. Stacked them all in layer after layer after layer after layer. But didn't put any dunnage between the layers, and didn't stack them in groups to where I could unload from one side of the trailer and then unload from the other side of the trailer. Just flat all the way across the trailer. All the 2x4s they stacked on the front, two nice, big, pretty looking square groups, but two massive groups that I couldn't pick up in one pick. Hang on just a second. Yes? I guess that's fine, as long as they stay all, well, no, not right now, because they're going to climb on my lumber. No, I don't want them jumping around while I'm working, actually. Thank you. So, of course, he shows up, and I'm like, well, I'll just do my best to pull the stuff off of here without dumping it, and, of course, it all just dumped and went everywhere. So, we had a big mess, and so just as soon as I dumped the first load of 2x4s, it was like, well, it is what it is. So, I started dumping all the 2x4s, and that's what we had, this big pile. It was all the way out here to the front of all just dumped 2x4s. And then the 1x mostly stayed in flattish groups, but each group had a mix of all the different sizes. And so then we had to go through, and actually even now in the kiln, it still did not all get loaded as all the 1x12s, then all the 1x8s, and so on and so forth. But each row, for the most part, is all same size. But it's all 1x stock, so it doesn't really matter whether it's a 1x12 beside a 1x4. So anyway, that was a pain, digging through all that, but we got that done the first day. He showed up Friday. We got him unloaded, and by Friday night, I had all the 1x in, and the kiln turned on. Now, So then I said, well, I need to get all these 2x4s picked up and sorted out, because leaving them laying here all rolled up is not, not good for them. At least they're not all crisscross and pickup sticks to where they got weight pushing and wanting to bend one. They're all laying the same direction now. They weren't like that perfectly. So Saturday morning, I had 2 grown men, mind you, that have worked for me before. I said, okay, guys, I need all the 2x4s sorted into 2 groups of common length. Okay, they're either 9-footers or 10-footers. It's that simple. They're either over 120 inches or under 120 inches. So I said, when you're done, you should have 2 sets of sizes. And I said again and again and again, put them into nice square bundles of about 50 to 60 to 70 pieces, whatever you guys want to do. But I said again and again and again, nice square bundles. And then I left them to it. And I came home 3 hours later, and I had this. They had moved them all, because I had some scattered over there and some scattered over here. So they had moved them all back over here. But you can see they're not in nice square bundles. They claimed that this was all the shorter stuff, 9-footers, and that they had all the longer stuff out front. I said, well, okay, it's not what I wanted you to do, but at least you've sorted, length. So whatever, paid them and went on. Well, then my high school helper showed up again, and he said, well, what do you want me to do? And I said, well, they've got them grouped by long and short. And I said, so all I need you to do is put them into nice square bundles, 60, 70 pieces. I don't care. Nice square bundles. And he started going through the bundles, making nice square piles. Pretty much every single pile he made was a different size, different shape, different number of boards. And that doesn't matter, because I'm going to have to still hand load all this into the kiln. But it matters for the sake of stacking and storing, because I need to be able to put all of this in a decently compact pile that I can then throw a tarp over it so it just stays out of the sun and rain while we wait for kiln space. So I come out here to check on him, and he's got all these random sized, this little bundle here has got, 20 pieces in it. The one below it's got 35 pieces in it, whatever. But he had them different heights. He had them not complete. I don't know. He's a good kid, but I'm just like, I don't understand how I can explain this. I even told him specifically, I said, do 4 wide by 15 high. That's a 60-piece bundle, like this one right here. I had to help him do that one to show him what I wanted. And I just, like I said, I know maybe this makes me sound like just a whiny little brat, but I don't understand. I don't know how I could have made it any simpler, other than just to stand here and watch them and tell them this is exactly what I want. And because now I've had 3 different people work on this for me. Relatively cheap labor. I spent about $200 in labor, but I really don't have, I feel like I'm going to have to go through almost all of this and redo it. So then what was the point in paying anyone? Anyway, it's just, I'm frustrated to come out here this morning and have to redo it all myself. It's like everything else. I try to pay somebody. I want to pay somebody. I want to have help. I want to help other people make a little money. And it's just like every single time I try, it just fails. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or, I don't know. I'm not trying to run people down and say that they're stupid or incapable, but I guess there's a communication barrier somewhere. And it may be on my part that I just assume people get it and they know what I want. But yeah, a bit frustrated. Oh well, like I said, I don't even know if I'll ever upload this. I don't know what to do. It's harder and harder and harder to find help. I'm always trying to, hire some high school kids to help just so I can give them a little play money and teach them some skills and some trades. And it's just like every single time I try, I don't know why I bother, because at the end I'm just like, okay, well, I just spent a bunch of money and didn't really get anything done. Anyway, that's it. Rant over. I got to get to work and get this whole system all sorted out. I told them all three, straight up, to lay it out just like this, so you're not walking back and forth too much. And even when I had the two guys, I said, look, it works really good if you have one guy on either end, because then you can sort out and get about 4 all the same length and move them. Versus one guy like me, kind of, you know, when you're on the end of it like this, it's a little more awkward to pick it up. But yeah, just slide it to me to balance the weight. And then you line up all the ends here really close, because these boards, there's a couple that are right there at 120. And if they're that, I'm calling them short. If they're right at 120, so I can assume that he's going to cut some ends off, and when he does, then he will be below 120. But anything that's like 123 and over, that's long. So line up all the ends so they're all even, because then if you see one that just looks obnoxiously short or obnoxiously long, it probably is. So, and again, I've had to say this before in videos, like, I'm not sprinting here. I'm not trying to work fast and show off. But this is really how quick it can be. Just get a good rhythm going, get a good system going. Minimize how much back and forth you're doing. I think my high school helper spent more time on the tractor just trying to move bundles around, and he's not quick on the tractor. So that's the other thing. He killed a lot of time. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but he killed a lot of time just moving little odd-sized bundles out of his way because he felt like they were in his way. But this is what I was explaining. I said, lay out some stringers right here so you've got space to work. Just start working right off the front of the pile so you're not walking over here and over there and back and forth all the time. It does look like mostly everything here in the back, for the most part. I found 1 or 2 longs, but mostly it is all shorts. So I guess the guys did do okay there. Again, I know they weren't pulling a tape on every single one. I told them not to. Pulling a tape measure every single time, that's going to slow you down. I was telling the high school boy what I've done before when I measured a bunch of odd size, sorting a bunch of odd length stuff. I did it when I cut all that 1/2-inch cedar. I had a pallet big enough to stack it all on, and on the pallet I painted a line at every 16-inch increment because I was cutting it all to be 16, 32, 48, blah, blah, blah. So I put a line on the pallet, and then as I started stacking up, then I could just, if I grabbed a piece that I wasn't sure, set it up against the line, too short, go over here, too long, go the next row back. And it was all going on the same pallet, so I could see those lines the whole time. So little things like that, little tricks like that, you know, here at least, I'm only doing 9s or 10s, or, you know, effectively short or long. And again, if I end up with something that is a short in the long pile or vice versa, it's not a deal breaker. I'm doing this just for my own benefit, really, that I know I can count real quick and say, okay, I've got 4 piles of 10s, 4 piles of 9s, whatever. So I can get a better estimate on total board footage and whatnot. Because again, I'm not billing them down to the inch here on the board footage. It's going to be just assumed 9 or 10. Basically, I'm billing him for usable board footage, not gross board footage. Or his intended use, I should say. And the length doesn't really matter too much on taking up space in the kiln. I mean, a bunch of 9s and 10s, I'm not going to be able to put anything long on the end of it anyway. But yeah, again, this is what I had in mind when I told those guys to sort it. It's just this quick, this simple. Yeah, you can see right now, I've got a whole bundle of 60 of 9s, and they're blocked in by the 10s. Am I going to go move the 10s so that I can get these 9s out? No. Just start a new pile of 9s. I'm not going to, there's no urgency. I'll keep doing this unless I get so close to this gross pile that I'm out of space. And I'm leaving about a foot or 2 between each pile so that I can get in between. I'll throw a ratchet strap around it before I pick it up and move it. And actually, I've got space right here that I could do another pile of 10s if I have to. If I start finding a bunch of 10s and I fill that pile, I can start another pile. So yeah, whatever. This is what I wanted. I've been working on it for about 30 minutes. I think I've gotten more done than, well, I won't say more done yet. But at this pace, I'll have it all done in another hour, hour and a half. half maybe. I really hope that, you know, I'm not the only one or one of the few in the world that can figure this stuff out. But it seems like more and more in today's world, that's where we're headed. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's failure to communicate, if it's just people not listening, or people really just not understanding basic instructions. So, it is what it is. Okay. I'm gonna turn this video off, because you guys don't need to watch me do this for the next hour and a half. And two, then I can get my music playing again.